Hello, everybody. Looks like we've got a handful of people in here already. I'm not going to get into the Q&A until we get a little bit closer to 1 p.m. Sam is in here. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for being here. Platinum, yeah, this is a 10,000 sub Q&A, as the title says. Trent, good to see you in here, buddy. You guys aren't subscribed to Trent's Tech down in the chat. You definitely should do that. Tech for your needs. Thank you as well. Let me pop out the chat here real quick so that I can set this up here. And then we can get started. Okay, there's that. Oh, nope, didn't mean to do that. It's Alt. Why is that not doing what I wanted it to do? Oh. No, wait. Oh, I see. Duh. I'm stupid. Excuse me. There we go. Okay. We'll do it live. Yeah, it was just a we're starting thing. If you just start the stream and then just start talking, people don't make it in time, so you wind up having people kind of miss some stuff. So I like to just kind of, like a lot of people do, we kind of give it a second before we get started. So 10,000 subscribers, huh? Pretty wild thing to happen. Wasn't sure when or if that would ever occur, but here we are. So if you are subscribed, obviously you probably are if you're here. Tremendous thank you to everyone who has chose to subscribe to the channel. An extra big thanks to people that have that symbol next to their name, right? You know, you probably can't see there next to Sam's name. Yeah, there's my cursor right there. The YouTube members, extra big thanks to you guys as well. For those that don't know, in July of 2022, I was actually working as a general manager for Advanced Auto Parts. And I ran what's called a super hub. It's a big location. It's a distribution warehouse. So it wasn't like a normal store. So I ran a distribution warehouse. And, paid relatively well. And financially, we were quite stable and everything. But I just wasn't happy. So that is July of that year, 2020, is when I after my wife's encouragement for many months, after her seeing me be quite unhappy, I quit and I went full time into this, and I've been working at it ever since. When I quit, I had about 1,000 subscribers, and so to be here, I think it's like 600 and what would that be, since July, 680 something days later, to have 10,000 subs is pretty awesome. So again, thank you guys. Pretty much like you said, enjoy through great content, fun. Yeah, and that's a lot of it. You know, I stumbled into the duo thing and served that niche as best I could. Try to diversify where I can, and just work at it. Daily posting. I've last month I think I posted like 42 videos last month. So it's just about the tenacity. For me, that's just been my experience. Just working at it every day, posting stuff every day. I'm gonna take it as a good sign that Trent is impressed with something that I've said. Take that as a compliment. So we have a handful of. Hello, Peter. Nice to meet you as well. Glad to have you here. We have a handful of questions here that we're going to try and get through as well. Thank you, Chris. I see you in here all the time, and I really do appreciate the familiar faces. Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. That is a heck of a last name, Darren. Schwarzendruber. That's an awesome last name. My last name's just Craig. That sucks by comparison. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. I go through phases. Sometimes I do. I stream live events, like Google's I/O. I stream that. Events like that I'll stream, and occasionally I'll stream other things, but not all that much. That would be a very mean thing to do, although it's also not true. So we've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to try and go through. If you guys have any more questions you want to ask, I'm going to try and go through them, in the chat as well. So feel free to ask whatever it is you want to ask. Didn't know you were full-time. I would be scared to death to go full-time at 8K, let alone 1K. So yeah, I mean, that just kind of gives me a little bit of an intro to kind of get into, because I was... So I always wanted to be able to do something where I could just talk about tech, because I love tech. It's like biggest obsession that I have. And so I was always looking for like an angle to be able to do that. It's what I wanted to do. And I had, through some luck, through some good decisions, I was in a situation where, I've got a house. This is my house. I bought this house in 2011. Yeah, I'm older than you guys probably think I am. I had money in the bank, and I had cheap bills. We really did not require a whole lot to get by between my wife and I. We don't have any kids. We have a couple of dogs. So I was in a really good spot. And so my wife pretty much just encouraged me and said, look, you need to go for it. We've got money there. Take a year. And so that was my plan. I said, I'm going to go for it for a solid year, as hard as I can. And we'll see what happens. And, where we are today at 10,000 subscribers, my YouTube and my affiliate links at the end of the month pay my mortgage, my KUB, which is KUB. You don't know what that is. That's my utilities, unless you're from Knoxville. They pay the bills. They pay my insurance. They pretty much pay every recurrent bill. And then my wife's, her job, that stuff pays for food and so forth and so on. So I'm in a uniquely advantageous situation, a situation wherein if I didn't say I'm going for it now, like who was better set up to do it than me? I had a good job, and I built a great computer, and I had all the camera gear and all this stuff just because I'm a nerd. So I was like, just do it. Just go for it. Just go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to not work, and then in a year I'll have to get a regular job and go back to that. And so that's what I did. Peter, another new member. Thank you so much. That is awesome. Really do appreciate it. Picked up Duo 1 from Woot. Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Hope you're enjoying it. Did you write that beefy bass line intro? Unfortunately, no, I didn't. That is not something that I wrote. I don't remember where I got it from. It's some license-free music. It might have been, I don't even know where it was. I don't know where it came from. Let's see here. I wrote down these questions. I guess I could just do it like this. I could just picture this and show you guys. Let's do this one here. Drellcag. What phones have you used over the years? So my first smartphone that I purchased myself was the Palm Pre, which I loved. Loved myself the Palm Pre. And then after that, I think I bought the HTC Evo. If you remember that phone, had the 4.3-inch touchscreen. Everybody thought that was crazy. 10-megapixel camera. Wow, what do you ever need a 10-megapixel camera on your phone for? HTC Shift. I'm going to miss a bunch of these. Moto X was a great one I had later on. Gosh. There's so many more. OnePlus 7 Pro, Pixel 2, LG V30, Palm, Pixie, BlackBerry Key 1, LG G5. A lot of phones, guys. Gone through a lot of phones. Never owned a Razor of any kind. Got some stuff going on here. Want to be cool like Darren. Heck yeah, dude. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Trent, for the $4.99. It's awesome. Thank you. Let's see. What else? I've got a basket. Oh, did I say Pixels? Pixel 2? Pixel 3? Pixel 5? Z Fold, Duo, Duo 2. Yeah, there's still more. I know that there are. I know that there are. Yeah, the Razr was a big one. So when the original Razr, when it was big, I wasn't when the Razr was big, the age I was not an age in which people my age had phones. Nowadays, 10-year-olds have phones, but when I was 10, that was not the case. That was not a thing. So it yeah. I think that my first phones were some kind of like generic-y looking BlackBerry ripoff that you couldn't really do anything on. And then when I got a job when I was like 16 and a half, 17, something like that, I started working and saved up money to get my own Sprint data plan. Bought the Palm Pre, never looked back. Yeah, some of these Duo deals have been really, really good. Been really interesting. What is the phone you own you enjoy the most? Well, I mean, that's a difficult question. I would say that as of late, I mean, obviously my daily driver is my Duo 2. That is the phone that I have had my sim in since it came out. The Z Fold is still absolutely fantastic, but I still really enjoy the Duo 2. It's continually getting better. We should have an update out literally any time now, but it's gonna be Duo 2 at this moment. Let's do another one of these questions. We'll bounce back and forth. I'll try to get to everybody. Jose Silva, or if you're Jose, I don't know. What was your first favorite phone? I think that the first phone that I really like, I forgot about my Samsung phones. I owned a bunch of Samsung phones, like the S3, the Nexus S. Oh man, so many good phones. I think my first phone that I was just really in love with was the Palm Pre WebOS. I freaking loved WebOS. The cards you swiped up and held, and you got cards, and like Android and everybody else has just stolen this from WebOS. Like this whole thing, that's 100% just that's a WebOS thing, you know. So probably the Palm Pre, the vertical slide up with the keyboard and everything, man. That stuff was awesome. Any smart glasses coming to the channel soon? I've looked at like the one that they showed at the end of the Google thing is pretty cool. Like I think I'm mostly just waiting on like the tech to get there to be like worth covering, because I think that right now, like obviously I wear glasses. I need to have this up so I can see how many people are actually in this stream. Okay. Like obviously I wear glasses, so like smart glasses are something that make some semblance of sense to me. But I just don't feel like they're there quite yet. But they probably will be soon. Some good ones on there. Believe it or not, I've never owned a Note. I have I always get these two confused. There's dyspraxia and there's apraxia, and it's in my family, so it's not just like it's a random thing, but like there's one of these is your fine motor skills are not very good. So like I can't, the handwriting is abysmal. So for me, a Note, similarly to like the pins for Duo and stuff like that, like they're really not that useful to me, because you just don't want to see me try and write stuff, scribble and draw things. Just not a good fit. So I've never owned a Note, although I've actually wanted them in the past, but I would always talk myself out of it, except like I'm not going to use the stylus. The pen's going to be useless to me. Thanks, dude. There's another person on YouTube that you should definitely be subscribing to. My chroma key there to get rid of the borders of this is screwing up, and it's making you partially transparent. Do I listen to metal? It depends on what you consider metal. So like I'll tell you this, my favorite band is Pearl Jam. Any Pearl Jam fans in the building? It is funny that I can't, my handwriting's terrible, but I do play guitar. But it is through, I've been playing since I was like 11, something like that. So like it's been just years and years and years and years, and I'm really not that good. Like I'm okay. I'm serviceable. I can fake my way through most stuff. But I like a lot of bands though. Pearl Jam is great. Queens of the Stone Age, them Crooked Vultures. Foo Fighters are pretty cool. Big fan of like older stuff though, like Springsteen and Tom Petty. I'm all over the place. Metal, like Metallica, they're okay. You know, like I'm not like a huge Metallica fan, but like if you mean by metal, like what are some other metal bands that I don't? Because metal's like runs a gamut that's really wide. It could be everything from like the death growling stuff could be metal. Metallica could be metal. They're all over the place, so it's a little bit of a broad term. Soundgarden's one of my favorites. Audio Slave is fantastic. Lots of different stuff. Let's see here. Dyspraxia, yes. One of them is that, and the other one is fine motor skills, and maybe the other one's like to do with speech. The terms are too similar, and I get confused. Well, you test the Slim Pin 2 with Duo 1. I hear it's super inaccurate when you write. I don't have the Slim Pin 2 to test. All I have are third-party pins. I don't really have a way to test. Although I could put up a poll, maybe, like the community page, and see what other people think. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Even Flow for the win. Yeah, Even Flow's a great one. Even Flow's a heck of a song. I've seen them play it live. And it's wild live. The solo that gets improvised during that song is often insane. Play us a song, oh Lord. maybe. What's going on, dude? The tech preacher himself. Well, I'll be. There's another. Look at all these YouTube channels popping up in here. These awesome people on YouTube that you definitely need to be checking out. Very, very cool. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Thank you. But an OG pin from Microsoft works well. Yeah, the original one, I've got one of those, and it works fine on Duo 1. I'm not sure about the Slim Pin 2, though. This is one that's kind of a question / a request that I might need your guys' help on, but I'll read it anyways. Solar, gosh, I really wish I could pronounce these names better. Can you make a video playlist of apps that work well on dual screen devices? So I know of a few, but what I might do is I might maybe do like another community post and ask people to like contribute. I'd love to see like a proper list. Maybe I have a website for all this stuff that I don't really use. So maybe I could like curate something there, but I would need to crowdsource it for sure. Any thoughts on Linux Phone? Yeah, it's actually an interesting thing. I've looked at a couple of them, but a lot of the ones I've looked at, to me, seem to be a little underpowered and a little overpriced. I forget which one it was, but the one that has the physical switches to actually like disable Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, camera, all these things. I think that stuff is very, very cool. So I'd like to have one at some point to play around with and test. I used to run Linux on my computers years ago before I started gaming on my PCs. I ran Ubuntu and several different distributions. So yeah, I would definitely like to try it. Awesome. Thank you. I got some ways to go to catch up with you, but I'm trying to do what I can. The Ubuntu phones caught my eye. Yeah, Ubuntu looks so good. It looks so good. It's such a beautiful operating system. I've not done anything with Steam OS or anything Steam Deck related, which was your next question. I thought about it when it first came out, but I don't know. And I may at some point, of course now I would have had to have already done it months ago, but like I just couldn't justify the expenditure. Because in my mind, I'll tell you why, like, you've got a Steam Deck that you can game on. Great. You can take it with you, game on, or whatever. I don't game out of my house, though, right? I've got a Switch. It doesn't leave the house. So here's my thinking. I don't need a Steam Deck because I can take my Duo, I can take my Fold, I can drop it into a controller, and I can use Moonlight, and I can stream it that way and play the games that way. And I already have this stuff. So Steam Deck would be replicating something that I can already do, and it's running off of my PC, so it's running really well. I can crank the graphics up. It's, you know, performance is not a problem. So that's kind of why I've not gone ahead and done it. A lot of people were really high on it. A lot of people really thought it was like fantastic, and I thought it was okay. Like, it was okay. The 6A looks really good. I've got a video about the Pixel 6A coming out tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. But a lot of stuff, like showing off the 7 was a little weird, because it's like, we'll see you in fall, you know, like here's the back of the phone. The Pixel Watch, I wish we got more of that. Obviously Pixel Notepad would have been cool to see. I think it was okay. Like, it wasn't mind-blowing, but it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination like bad. So a lot of software in the beginning, the live stream, the chat got a little unruly and a little bored, I think, watching a lot of the software stuff. If I'm going to buy one, man, I'm thinking about this 6A, just to have a Pixel in the house, a modern one, because closest one I've got is the 5, which is very good. This was my wife's daily driver for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I might grab the 6A or something. The 7, I don't know. I guess I should really just wait and see what the 7 is like, but we'll see. The 7, I liked it they're doing aluminum on the camera bump too. I think that's really smart. Keeps it nice and safe. Coasters for life. What's the best? That is a very on-brand question. It's a very on-brand question. When was the last time I was on a roller coaster? Goodness gracious, dude. Well, so if you know where I live, in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the United States, then you probably, if you're Coasters for Life, you're going to know this. You know about Dollywood. How many people in this chat know what Dollywood is? I'm just curious now. Is this a local phenomenon? Or is it... do people know? Dollywood's got a handful that I've been on, but not in a long time. I think when I was young, when they first did it, they call it the Tennessee tornado or twister or something like that, maybe. It's made of wood, I think. I don't know. I'm not a big roller coaster fan. I kind of feel that, man. Like I've always, maybe it's because I grew up kind of poor, but I've always loved taking a piece of tech that's cheap, underpowered, and then like making it do stuff that it has no business being, like, that has no business doing. I really enjoy that. Taking a camera on a phone that's not that good, but like slapping Gcam on it and making it pretty good. Like, that stuff is fun to me. Like, anybody can just, you know, okay, here we are, me holding $3,000 worth of phone. So slightly hypocritical at this point, but like, anybody can buy the best phone and take great pictures and have great performance, but like, you know, tweaking stuff, that's why I'm an Android fan, because you can tweak stuff. I totally understand that. I can name 5 Dollywood roller coasters. That's awesome. I appreciate that you really have something that you love. Do you like upload videos of like roller coasters on a YouTube channel? Yep. Not too far from me, actually. Probably about a 40-minute drive from here. Dolly Parton is a legend. Absolutely. Okay. Tennessee tornado. Yeah, the Mystery Mine too. Man, you're popping up memories that are buried in the back of my head. The Mystery Mine. Yeah, I've been on that one. There are some other ones up there too. Most of my Pixel experience has been with the A models. Inexpensive, great camera, great battery. To me, materials that are appealing. I know people like glass on glass on glass because of the feeling, the premium look and feel, but man, give me aluminum. Like the Pixel 5. It's made of metal. Great. Awesome. Okay, can I see if you can even see this? Because this is wild. I told you this was my wife's daily carry. See if I can get this to focus here. Come on. Focus on my hand. Come on, camera. There we go. Okay, do you see that? Do you see that scratch? I don't know what she did, but she literally has a like you could it's a crevice carved in the back of that thing. Metal. Craziness. Microsoft should have invested in computational photography instead of just slapping. I think, I think they had to do both because I mean they have invested somewhat in computational photography. They're licensing a third party company who does a lot of the work for other people as well for this stuff. So they're doing a bit of both, but it's yeah, they're look, let's be clear. Their computational photography is nowhere near what Google does. That is 100% true. So, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what the solution was. The camera on Duo 1, I mean, it was a selfie camera. I mean, it was super. It was a small sensor, few lenses, not much. They really. You can't really make that compete with flagship phones. So I don't know. They were kind of in between a rock and a hard place. They designed a thing that was meant to be a pocket PC that got turned into a phone. So they're basically like, oh, it's a phone now. Put a camera on it somewhere. But the design is not conducive of having a camera on it. So they're in a weird spot. Rumor is fall, but the rumors have been wrong already on the Pixel Notepad. Like repeatedly wrong. I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll actually happen at this point. That's a great question as well. I own two Surface Pro 7s, which both have their own pin. I own two off-brand pins as well. I do not own any of the slim pins. They're just too expensive. I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, the Lumia 950 was a beast in many different ways. Many different ways. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Good stuff as always. Yeah, they actually messed with doing that for a while. Can I find this picture? Surface Duo camera divot. I covered it in videos where they actually tested this. Here we go. There's a little circular hole. This was a prototype where there's a circular hole cut out in the back. I'm gonna go to Reddit. Yeah, there you go. Camera bump, camera hole. So they did test that. Keep in mind that when you do that, you lose some space for stuff inside. So you're doubling up. So you've got a camera there now, but now on the opposite side, you have a divot. So there's no battery there. You know, you lose some space there as well. So it's kind of a tough one. What was your first experience with Microsoft and notable Microsoft experiences other than Surface Duo, Travis Garnett? So a lot of people kind of, I think, assume that I've been like a long-term, like a lifelong Microsoft fan, and that's actually not true. I think that the first Microsoft software I interacted with was, I think it was honestly Windows Millennium. A buddy of mine had it. I'd go over to his house. We were kids. We were children. You know, whatever that would have been, 10 years old, something like that. And he had like a finished basement, and we would go down there and we would play Super Nintendo and stuff like that, because that's what we had. And we oh man, memories. He had the Encarta Encyclopedia, and we would play on an encyclopedia on this computer. We would listen to stupid noises that birds made and stuff. Yeah, just weird stuff kids would do. But like I didn't, like I used Ubuntu, and like Windows was fine, but like, I wasn't a big Windows person. The first Windows hardware I bought was a Surface Pro 7. So that stuff is all pretty recent, to be honest with you. Todd Walker. Do you ever see the physical keyboard making a comeback in the mainstream circles, or at least a viable option? Will it always be something you have to hunt and make do with whatever a kickstarting company decides to produce one. Yeah, I think it's probably that one. I think that I think it's pretty much gone the way of the dodo, unfortunately. Um, you guys actually showed a lot more interest in what's that phone? The Unihertz Titan Slim than I expected. And I'd like to get a hold of one to be able to test it for sure. And I reached out to them and I never heard anything back from them. So it is what it is. I'll have to buy it if I want to cover it. But yeah, I don't think it's ever. You're never gonna see, like, Samsung's never gonna make a keyboard phone again. Just is what it is. Do I see a haircut? Kind of. Like, I keep the sides trimmed just because it gets messy. I don't know. It's not really like a thing that I do for the look. It's mostly like it's twofold. One, just because this area gets messy, and then you're trying to pull back a ponytail back here, and it doesn't work well for me for whatever reason. And when you're growing that part out too, like it like grows over your ears and it looks messy and horrible. So I keep it trimmed because of that, but also too because having a bunch of hair, because it's all still here, mind you, it's all still here, gets really hot. And I can pull this up and it like exposes some additional skin to air contact to cool me off. So that's why that's there. I also have heard bad things, but I'd still like to be able to test it and check it out myself. But yeah, I did hear the same thing. I think Adam from Tech Odyssey, I don't think he was super wild about it. Mr. Mobile did not seem super wild about it either. Joe Silva, which was probably not Joe Silva. It's probably Jose Silva. What game have you put the most amount of hours in? And if you don't know which one, how many? Oh, and if you know which one, how many hours? And do you regret it? I have no idea what game I put the most hours into, but I can tell you a few games that I've put way too many hours into through the course of the years. I know a lot of people that like still play Skyrim and stuff like that, and they're like, I've put in 2,000 hours. Like, I don't have anything like that, but like, I've played a lot of Rocket League over the years. I still play Rocket League occasionally. I played a ton of PUBG. In fact, I can tell you how many hours I have into PUBG because Steam will tell you such a thing, right? Let's see here. That's a lot of hours. 1,300 hours into PUBG. Huh. It's been a while since I played it. April, and I don't really play it anymore. Rocket League, this is just on PC, 62 hours, but I played it primarily on PS4, probably into the hundreds of hours. You can see I don't game as much as I used to. It's hard to find stuff that I really get into. Played too much Warzone. Warzone sucks, but I keep playing it. I don't know why. It's like a weird masochistic thing or something. Battlefield, Bad Company 2, 3, and 4. Played a ton of those. Yeah, those are probably all my biggest ones. I like competitive games. I like games where I can put on a headset, coordinate with my friends. Oh, The Last of Us multiplayer was fantastic. Played so much of that. SOCOM back in the day. There's a pattern here, I feel like. Do you ever emulate DS on the Duo? Occasionally. I've probably got... Let's see here. I've definitely got Drastic on here, and I should still have a save going. Yeah, I do. Pokemon music. I've got my controls turned off because I was using a controller with it. But there you go. There's some Pokemon game. I don't even remember which one it is. It's probably a ROM hack of some kind because that's typically what I play when I do it. But yeah, it's great for stuff like that. And then like you slap a controller like this on it, and it's just like it's fantastic. It's really good. Really good. Let's see here. Did those. I have to ask this person how to pronounce their name literally every time. And I will not. My brain refuses to retain the information. It just refuses. What are your plans for your channel in the near future? Keep doing what I'm doing, really. I thought about, like, do I do like a little bit of a rebrand, like the Scary If Literal name kind of is meaningless? Like, do I try to move away from it and make it more about my name, which I put my name first in the title and stuff months ago? Do I change up the intro, the music? I've shortened them to get into content quicker, but like, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna keep doing exactly what I'm doing. It seems to be working. Everything seems to be working well. So, I experimented with doing more live streams, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. Um, Live streams, when there's something like this where I've got topics and I've got stuff to fall back on, fine, no big deal. But I was like, I'll try to do a live stream like twice a week, and that was beginning to become stressful to me. So I have stopped doing it because I don't want to do things that stress me out. So yeah, not really anything crazy. Pokemon Red and Green are my favorite ROMs. Yeah, Fire Red is a good ROM hack. What is the one I have on here? I don't even know. There's so many. There are so many. Load. No, that's not what I want to do. Change game. Oh, this is called Blaze Black. It's a ROM hack of Pokemon Black that I'd never played those games, so I was going through them. But it's very good. Games you recommend for Duo users? I don't really play a lot of like Android games. I downloaded Apex Legends this morning to try it out, and I'm like, I'm never gonna play this. PUBG Mobile, never really play it. Call of Duty Mobile, same. I like games on Duo that are games that are not super action heavy. So what I like to do, like one of my favorite games to play, which I think I still have on here, I took a break from it because I played it for a long time, is a game called Pocket City. And I don't think I have it on here. I think I uninstalled it for something. I don't think I brought it back. It's like a SimCity style game. So I like games where I can have a non-time contingent game over here and then another task on the other screen. Sudoku or something makes sense too. Yeah, that's kind of what I tend to do most on Duo. Are foldables changing the smartphone landscape for good? Words. A lot of this stuff is subjective. I don't think slab phones are ever going to go away, at least not for a really, really long time. For me, old school candy bar phones are obsolete. I have no interest in them. They're boring. In terms of daily driving one, I just said earlier that I was thinking about buying a Pixel 6a to have in the house. That's for testing purposes, for keeping up with news, testing out builds of Android and so forth and so on. For me, I'm all in, obviously. Will foldables ever be the most common phone on the market? That's questionable to me as well. I don't know. If it happens, it'll be in a really long time. But I think that we're not that far from a tipping point where you start seeing foldable phones in your day-to-day life fairly commonly. I think it's already beginning to happen, and I think that if the Flip 4 comes out and is relatively inexpensive, like $800, I think it's going to start happening much sooner than later. For sure. Techie if later. Makes even less sense than the current name. Ash Gray, that's one I think I've downloaded at some point as well. Any thoughts OnePlus will announce their fine end clone? No news on it at all, but I hope it's really soon. I really hope this happens soon. Probably, I would guess probably next year would be. I don't think it's gonna happen this year from what I've heard. I love Zelda. Zelda's great. Breath of the Wild is fantastic. That's one of my all-time favorite games. Mr. Carranza. I know a guy whose last name was Carranza or Carranza back when I worked in retail. He was a nice guy. Thank you. Shiny Gold Sigma. I'll have to look it up. I don't know anything about it. Rob Cooper, you sent in a super chat and then you retracted your message, so I can't highlight it, but I appreciate you. That's a $15 super chat. Thank you. Unless you somehow retracted the super chat as well. In which case, not thank you. I just heard someone honk a horn outside my house. I've actually got a package coming today. Okay, wasn't FedEx. We're okay. I got a thing from TCL coming in at some point today that I must sign for. Nothing that exciting. Just a phone. Mr. Tim Cook. How's it going? Keeping tabs on the competition. Said he appreciates your videos and is saying hi from Australia. So can you still see the chat? because it's gone from me. That's very strange. Or maybe you just saw it before you retracted it. Thank you. Much appreciated. Top 3 non-tech items. That's hard. That's a non-tech items. My whole life revolves around tech. That's a hard one. Top 3 non-tech items. Okay, so this is a guitar that I bought a few months ago. It is a Martin. You may notice that it's really small. I'll do this real quick. Hang on. Okay, so probably can tell that it's really little compared to that thing, and it's because I'm not gonna like play you guys a song, because I don't know. People are gonna tune in and be like, what the hell is he doing? He's in there doing a music demonstration. But it's really small, and I think it's just called the LX1, the Little Martin. I like it because it's really small. The first guitar that I ever got was given to me by my grandmother, and it's actually upstairs in my house. I have a guitar graveyard directly above me and kind of that way. And it was a silver tone that was bought out of a Sears catalog. That if you guys know what Sears is, or a catalog, these things are quite old. And it was little like this. And it's actually, might have been a little bit bigger than this, but it was really little. So that's what I got used to playing on. And I like that I can sit with it here, like in my chair. And it's just, I don't know, like it's just comfortable. It's lightweight. It's really nice. I like the, what would you call that? The grain, the patina on the wood. And it's got a really nice, it's got a really nice sound to it. I really like it a lot. So I got that a little while back. Non-tech items. I need to think about this more. I don't know. Let's see here. Is that a Gibson I see on the wall back there? It is actually an Epiphone. It's an SG-ish type thing. Actually, so the first acoustic is by a company called Woods. And I don't think that they're really like a big company. And I keep it tuned to an Open E. Open E? Yeah. It's tuned to an Open E for some reason. I'll play with a slide occasionally. Then there's an Epiphone SG type clone, and then there's an Epiphone acoustic. And then in the living room, there's another Epiphone acoustic. They were like on sale, and my wife wanted to learn how to play the guitar, so I bought her one as well. Or I didn't. We bought it. It's our money. Yeah. The name Sears is on the Wayback Machine. Oh man, yeah, Sears. Sears is gone. Probably a lot of kids that don't know what Sears is. Sears, Roebuck, Kmart. There was a Kmart still in my neighborhood not that long ago, and it's gone. Do you use app groups on your Duo? I use one app group, and it's another aspect of my nerdiness. It is for weather. If I hit it here, you'll see it opens up 2 different radars because I'm a big weather nerd. And what I'm able to do with that, there's no weather happening, so I can't really show you anything because there's no weather. There might be some weather later today. There's a little bit. So what I can do is I can have like, let me get rid of this so you can see. I can look at like the reflectivity on one screen and then look at like velocities on the other one, or correlation coefficient. I can look at 2 things at once, and it's awesome for that. It's really, really good. It's a really good way to be able to do that. We all have gotten a sneak peek at your setup, or what's the PC that's behind the magic? Custom components. It is a custom computer. Do I have a way to show this to you? Kind of. Hold on. This might be a disaster. Okay, so there's my overhead camera. What if I take the overhead camera out of the thing? Yeah, there you go. So that's the computer kind of set back in the corner. It is, I'm going to get some of this probably wrong. It's an i7, maybe it's a 9700K. That sounds right. 1070 Ti 32 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. All of those things. If I can get this back in my cradle now. That actually worked way better than I thought it was going to. Yeah, it's all custom. It's very dusty inside, though. I need to open it up and clean it. Let's see here. Well done on 10,000 subs. I've been here from the start. Yes, you have. Finally upgraded from the Lumia 950 to the Duo 2. First phone in 10 years. That's awesome. That is fantastic. That's really, really good. What is your profession? You're looking at it, dude. This is my profession. That's it. It used to be retail management. I was retail management. I started working at no one here's gonna know what this is. There's a little store chain, a little family-owned chain of stores. If you know what Big Lots is, it's kind of like Big Lots, but mostly clothing instead. They bought like Overruns and factory irregulars and stuff like that, and it's called Hammers. From a little old lady, Miss Hammer. She actually just passed away a couple years ago. And so I worked at the Hammers location in Clinton, Tennessee when I first got a job, and I worked up there until I was supervisor, and then I left there to become a key holder at Advance Auto Parts. Very, what would you call it? Very fancy job. Worked my way up there to be retail manager, assistant manager, then general manager, then got promoted to run the distribution warehouse that serviced, I want to say it was like 102 stores or something like that. We were super duper important, and I got really depressed, and I quit. Now I do this. And I'm not as depressed anymore, so there you go. I've always had a genuine question around the Duo phones. How well do they handle meetings and chat apps running at the same time? What's the impact on battery life? So I see maybe something like Teams or Meet, and then like, you know, WhatsApp or something like that. So your meeting app on one and then your chat app on the other. It depends on the application, because some of these chat apps are a little wonky on Duo for some reason. But as far as performance goes, as long as it's nothing weird going on, like it's just like a weird glitchy app for it, it handles it fine. Battery life is okay when you're doing stuff like that. Battery on Duo and Duo 2 is not like super duper phenomenal anyways. Like it's a 1-day phone. I tend to get like between 4 and 6 hours of screen time in a day, which equates to unplugging it at like 7 a.m. And then like a lot of times when I'm sitting here working, I just have a plug here. So like I just instinctively plug it in. So I never have to worry about battery. Like right now I'm at 84%. Because I've not gone anywhere today, waiting on a package I got to sign for. On a normal day when I'm out and about and I'm not charging all the time, I'll make it till sundown at, 15-20%. So it just depends. It's doable, but if you get Duo, you might want to have a charger around, have one in your car, have one at your desk, and you'll be all right. Thank you, much appreciated. Another channel that you should go click on for sure. You got to get an MX Master 3. Everyone knows it's the best mouse. It is a very good mouse. I don't know why I picked this one. I don't even know what it is. G604 it says on the bottom. I just like the look of it. It's lightweight. It's wireless. Yeah. And then my keyboard, which you probably just saw, is also dusty. I live in a really old house. My house was built in the early 1900s, so it's dusty. This is the 915 TKL Light Speed, and it's made of like aluminum, and it's really good, and I like it. It's not as loud as my SteelSeries one was before. We know we all know that you keep those guitars tuned down to drop B. Yeah, there was a time in my life. I think every music-oriented person since the mid-90s has gone through a phase where they've really liked Nirvana, they've tuned their guitar down half a step, and they've played a lot of drop D, or in that case, that would be drop C sharp. So, but those days are behind me. This guitar is tuned to just the standard E, or not E. What did I say? E. That's tuned E. Just the standard tuning. That's what I meant to say. Once upon a time. I use Google Meets and Slack as part of my job, and I've been looking to get a Duo for work, but don't know how it will survive such a workload. Yeah, if anyone has this workflow, Google Meets and Slack, please say something in the comments. Because I've used Google Meets a couple of times. I do not have Slack and never use it. So I really can't tell you for sure, but maybe somebody will know something. He majors in YouTube videos on Android devices with a minor in Peripia. That's pretty accurate. Yep. Spent a lot of years with the Advance. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by. Once upon a time, like, it's funny because it's funny how quickly when you don't exercise a muscle, you lose stuff. I used to be pretty good with, I got to where I could, a lot of what you do, before I was running the hub was I was on a counter. People would come in and I live in Knoxville. So people would come in and they'd be like, my 1993 pickup truck don't want to start. And you're like, all right, let's talk it out. Like, what happens when you turn the key? And they're like, it just clicks. I'm like, all right, have we tested the battery? Let's get that in here. Maybe it's the starter solenoid. Like, there's all that, but this stuff, it leaves your brain. When you don't use it every day, it's just gone. Yeah. So I got a quieter keyboard because filming, I would try and, if I would record me and my buddy playing video games, you would just hear click, 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 click all the time, and it was super annoying. Battery life. Yeah, okay. That's one thing I've not really tried to use is turn on battery saver mode. And I should test that as well. Thank you for reminding me to do that. I enjoy my Logitech mouse keyboard, have the software for both. Yeah, and I recently got a Logitech headset because I like only having one app. And their app has all of this, and it actually also has stuff for the Yeti microphones. So I really like having it all together. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you. Someone who has been consistently helpful for me, consistently responds to questions that I might have. Another great YouTube channel. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Spelled my name wrong, bro. Thank you anyways. Forklift parts. Oh man, I bet that's fun. I bet that's a fun one. You got to have a really good catalog for something like that. So when I ran the Super Hub, we had a lot of accounts that were, how would you put it? Like, it might have weird requests, weird things that they might need that aren't in the Advanced Auto Parts catalog. And that always was very fun. Google was our friend a lot of the time. That's awesome. Yeah. Turn the car off and turn it back on again and see what happens. Back to work indeed. Thank you, sir. No worries. I'm just picking on you. Let's see here. I remember, I don't know why this sprung this memory to me, but it was just a funny thing that happened. This lady pulled in and her car was like all diagonal, like it was in like two parking spots. And she came in and she was like all exasperated and was like sweating. And she was like, I can't turn my car's wheel. I can barely steer. And I was like, okay, like that's not like a thing we do, like you come to us when you're like, I need a battery, I need a starter, I need brake pads. You don't, go to a shop, why are you coming to me? But I was like, all right, we'll look at it. So I went out there and told her to pop the hood. So I'm looking for the power steering pump. That's the thing that allows you to turn the wheel, basically. It's hydraulics that helps you. When you're turning that wheel, you're literally moving your tires. And if your tires are on the ground and your car is on the ground, that's a lot of weight. So it's force you have to exert. So I'm thinking she's thrown a power steering belt or it's torn or she's out of power steering fluid and it's smoked. So I forget what it was. Maybe it was like a Chevy HHR. That might be right. She popped the hood, couldn't find the power steering pump. I'm looking everywhere. I don't see it. I realized at this moment it is an electronic one. It's not a pump anymore. It's a motor. It's an actual motor. So then I look in her fuse box and there's a fuse for it. She's blown the fuse to the power steering motor. Sold her like a $4 pack of fuses, popped it in. Easy as can be. And she was She was super pleased. I didn't like that job most of the time, but there were moments where the problem solving stuff got to happen, and that was fun. Those when she pulled out and left with that, I was like feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about that. I could never actually do the repairs. Not nearly handy enough for that kind of nonsense. I still can't think of a good answer for these. What's your least favorite thing about your favorite phone? So he's asking me Reviews for Nerds, which is another YouTube channel. He's asking me effectively, what's my least favorite thing about Surface Duo 2? What is my least favorite thing about it? I wish that the camera was a little bit quicker. Just in general. It's gotten a lot better, but it's still occasionally. Sometimes you'll take pictures and it's like lightning. And then sometimes you go to take a picture and it's like, let me think about that for a second. Do I want to take a picture now? Okay. And then it takes it. And it's, yeah, by then you've missed the shot. So it's generally better, but that's probably still the thing that irritates me the most because there's really not much left. Auto electrician too. I don't need to be doing. Don't put a tool in my hand. Don't put a wrench in my hand. Anything like that. Like some of the, I've managed to accomplish some things as of late in the handyman world, but it's sheerly by just trying enough times that eventually you're gonna get it right. I have no natural talent in that regard at all. Oh, skipped a comment. Thank you, Ed. Glad to see you here. Least favorite thing about Surface Duo, just enough IPX to get you out into the rain, but not enough to make you not panic. Yeah, mine actually got some water on it earlier. I had it next to the sink and I splashed water on it. But honestly, I'm not worried about it. It's fine. As long as you don't submerge the thing, you'll be all right. You'll be okay. If you had to choose between a Duo 4 or Neo to review, but we're getting Duo 3 if we're getting Duo 3 in this concept, I guess it depends. Are we I was gonna say, are we skipping Duo 4, but that doesn't make sense. You can't skip a number. If they release a fourth one, it's 4. So you're saying Duo ends at 3 and then we get Neo. Huh. No. I'd rather Duo continue because someone else is going to make a folding OLED. No one else is going to make anything remotely similar to this. Someone will make something similar-ish to Neo. So no. We know Neo isn't coming anytime soon. Yeah, no. It may never come. I'll be surprised if it ever did. Honesty Price. Do you carry multiple phones at a time? And is any part of your setup Mac OS or iOS? When I'm reviewing something, I will carry a second phone. I will be carrying a second phone for a while after today as I review a device from TCL. But generally speaking, no, Duo is all I need. Is any part of my setup Mac OS or iOS? It is not. I have owned in my life one iOS device. It was the original iPod Touch. That's it. It's the only one I've ever owned. I've never owned any other Apple product. Some people would say that I don't have proper context because I don't know about the other side of the fence. I would say I don't care. Kahuna, what color will your new Fold 4 be? I'm gonna need more super chats if I'm gonna be buying the Fold 4. What were the color options for the Fold 3? Can we? I'm gonna pull this up real quick. What colors does the Fold 3 come in? Phantom Black, Phantom Green, Phantom Silver. Just, why is the word Phantom there? Phantom Black makes sense. Phantom Green? What? What kind of Phantom is green? Phantom Silver. Just say silver, green, and black. Stupid. Black. It would just be black if those are the same colors again. I know that's boring. I'm sorry. How do Fitbit, Android watches, and Apple watches stack up against each other in your experience? So I would say that Fitbit has gotten really good as of late. My Versa 3 was very good. My TicWatch is very good. I've never used an Apple Watch, but I will tell you just from the reputation of it, I'm perfectly happy to assume that the Apple Watch is still the best smartwatch on the market. That's what everything indicates to me. I always say that my Versa and my TicWatch are very much in the same ballpark. I have heard a lot of people say that these Garmin watches are very good. And I need to send them an email or something, because I mean, there's so many things I want to cover. Like an innumerable number of things I want to cover, but I've only got so much money in my bank account. So I need to reach out and see if, I don't know, probably nothing from that, but I would love to try them as well. Zombie green. I like that. Phantom black looks like green. Yeah, olive would make sense. So yeah, I don't know. These colors don't make any sense to me. I would say though, I would put Fitbit and Wear OS watches in a really similar place at this point. And I would say Apple watches are probably yet superior to them. So I guess I've answered all of the questions that I had set up other than your top 3 non-tech items. Can I count a pet as an item? I can just say my 2 dogs. That seems wrong. They're not really items. They're animals. What other items do I have? What else is in this room? I spend almost all my time in here. So you think it'd be in here, but it's just tech in here. That's all that's in here. It's all tech. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say this is tech, but I play a dumb amount of one game on VR. I play a ton of Thrill of the Fight, a boxing game. In fact, you may have noticed that this room, I flipped things around again, and the reason is because I wanted more room to play VR. This is, so it's much more open now. So when I play my boxing game, I can properly like work angles and circle and so forth. So that's tech though. That doesn't count. There you go. There's your answer. I answered it without even reading your comment. So this room it's not that big. So I keep trying to find ways that will make my backdrop look okay, but also will be okay for the room. So the way I had it before, this wall was what was behind me, but the desk is an L. So the result was the room was like cut in half in terms of like accessible space. And I was playing a ghost hunting game called Phasmophobia with some friends, my wife and a couple of friends, and you can play it with VR. So I have my headset on and I use this virtual desktop app to grab my computer. I'm playing it in VR, and I'm in a space that's probably 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, and I just kept getting close to punching my computer on accident. So this is just not tenable. And then I would play my boxing game in the living room in there, but that's just not a big space either. So the other day I was like, we're gonna go back. So I put this desk in the corner. So now the room is more open. So that's why. That's the reason. I've also heard that as well. There's so many good options I need to look at. Pets aren't items. They're good as boys and good as girls as well. Yeah. It's the VR headset giving. Yeah, that's what it is. Didn't even have to read the question. I just see it coming. I'm more of a fan of MMA than anything, but I enjoy boxing. When I was like 16, 17, 18, I did a bit of Muay Thai and a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as my brother-in-law did some amateur cage fights around these parts. And so we turned, at that time my mom, we had a 2-car garage. We had just moved into this house. Things had begun to, in my family's life, improve. We bought a house. This garage is almost as big as the house was, which does not mean that the garage was huge. It means the house was quite small. But we put pads down, and we spent so much time up there with our gloves and beat the tar out of each other, and it was awesome. And I love boxing. I wish that the VR game, if they would sell me something that I could put something on my ankles and I could kick too, I would really, really enjoy that. But for now, yeah, I really enjoy, if you have an Oculus and you don't have Thrill of the Fight, You absolutely, it's like $10. I've played so much of that game. I didn't mention it earlier, and I should have. It's fantastic. And it is a fantastic workout. I know so many people that I've told, like, oh man, it's a great workout. And like they hear me, but they don't get it. And then they'll come over or they'll buy it themselves, and I'll say, try Thrill of the Fight. And they'll put it on and they'll do one match and they'll be sweating. And they'll be like, oh my Lord, that was an incredible. I'm like, I know, I told you, it's a great workout. It's fantastic. Yeah, great game. I've never watched a single hockey game in my life. The only sports that I pay any attention to are football and MMA. Pretty much it. Did he? That's actually quite surprising, but it's understandable. It's really realistic. Like, it's really good. It's really, really good. And they're making a new one, and I cannot wait. I will buy it day one. It's fantastic. Yeah. Here's the cool thing about Oculus, though. I can see there's a new setting where if you look down, it'll show you the outline of your play area no matter where you are. So I know always how much space I have. So I've never hit anything in that boxing game. Now, in Phasmophobia, when I'm going with the PC, it gets a little bit more dicey. That setting is still there, but for some reason, I have a tendency to get lost more. In Thrill of the Fight, I always know exactly where I'm at, so I have not had that problem. Yeah, I had the same feeling. Was not a fan. Yeah, and there's a new, it's basically Wii Sports, but for the Switch, and I need to buy it. We get another paycheck here in a few days, so that might happen then, because I got to get some bowling going. Wii Sports Bowling was awesome. I'll tell you what, though, not to bang on too long about Thrill of the Fight, but when I first got it, I think I did like 2 or 3 matches all back to back to back, and I was flat out exhausted. And I was like, man, I got to get in better shape. So I literally play at least a round or 2 like every single day. And I will tell you this, my lungs are better than they used to be. Like, I feel like it's gotten me back into better shape, which is fantastic. You can actually not only, when you first get into your headset, there's cameras on it. There's cameras all over the front of this thing. So when you first set it up, you can see, you've got your headset on, but you can see the world. And you take your controller and you draw a square or whatever where you're safe to play. And then there's also a setting where if you get close to the edge, a grid shows up. But also if something moves through your space, you'll see this like pink outline of them moving through. So when like one of my dogs come wandering through, I will see them while I'm in the VR. It's really, really good. What's going on, Nathan? Good to see you. Is it too late for Microsoft to go back to the drawing board on HoloLens? No. They're in quite the quandary with HoloLens. It's, I don't know. It depends on if they want to target the broad public or if they want to keep doing what they're doing and going after businesses and military and things like that. That's I don't know. Because what they're doing now it does not seem to be going well. I've done some boxing sparring, and 3-minute rounds are draining if you're not in great shape. Heck yes, they are. And so you can do custom settings on Thrill of the Fight. So I've got mine set up with 5-minute rounds because I don't like the breaks. I want to just keep going for the cardio. And you can go in and you can tweak each boxer's parameters, or not each boxer, but you can tweak the parameter of your opponent. You can make them more or less aggressive. You can speed them up, slow them down, make them throw different punches more or less often. Like, let's say you really want to work on that check left hook that they're throwing, they're catching you with. Well, you can make them throw it more often so that you can get in more reps to learn how to block it. It's like, it's really good. The Oculus safety stuff is cool, but it gets really weird and distracting if you turn it all on. Yes. So you're absolutely right. I've got the pink blobs with stuff moving through your area. I've got the distance on it turned down to the shortest distance, so I don't see it too often. And then the grid isn't a problem if you're in a big enough room. And so this room is... You really can't tell how big this... You kind of can. So you can see the base of that lamp over there in the corner. That's the other end. So you can kind of get a sense that way. And then this way it doesn't really translate that well, but it's basically a square. So it's probably, I would reckon probably close to 10 feet by probably close to 8 feet, something like that. So when you have a big enough space, you don't really see it all that often. But yeah, if you're in, like when I was playing in the living room, yeah, I would see that stuff all the time, and it was a little bit annoying. Let's see here. Xbox Game Pass could go a long way and further push their military project if they opened up HoloLens to gaming developers. I would love to see HoloLens be opened up to gaming and stuff like that too. I mean, I went from being, I'm still not like a total believer in VR, simply because I do think it pulls you out of the world. It's not a, so we're like playing this ghost hunting game, and my other friends and my wife are playing on their PC, and I'm playing on my PC too, but I'm in my VR. So because of that, I've got my headset on, and you can actually use that as your mic. So I'm talking to them, and they're seeing me walk around and doing stuff. So in that way, it is a together experience, and it's really good. But a lot of the time, like if I'm playing Thrill of the Fight and my wife's home, I can cast it to a TV, but like it separates you. And the second thing is that you're not going to wear this thing all the time. It gets hot. Like playing Phasmophobia for a couple hours, people are like, oh, how's the battery life? Long enough, because like my face gets hot and sweaty, and it's awful after a while. So the other thing, which I can actually answer through this, Resident Evil on Oculus is really good from what I hear, but I have a big problem with, so someone asked earlier about roller coasters, and I don't ride roller coasters very often because I get motion sick very, very easily. In VR games, if I'm in VR and the game, I have to push a stick forward and my character moves, but me in real life is stationary, I get instantaneously motion sick. Like, immediately. So in like Phasmophobia, the way it works is, in the setting I have, you push your stick forward and a little white line, a little arc comes out of your hand in the game, and then when you let go of the stick, the screen blacks out, and then when it comes back, you're standing in that spot. It teleports you, and that does not make me motion sick. So I teleport to a spot, and then I can walk around in my room, which walks me around in the game. So in that regard, I'm moving physically and I'm moving in the game, so I don't get motion sick. But in Resident Evil, if I'm standing still and I push the stick forward, I'm stationary, I'm moving in the game, instant motion sickness. And I wonder how many people are like that. I know I'm more motion sick than anybody that I know. My little brother has Oculus, and he plays his all the time. He's running and sword fighting, no problem at all. No problem at all. I cannot do that stuff. Super Hot is a great example, because in Super Hot, to move, you move. No chance of motion sickness. Thrill of the Fight, awesome. If I want to step behind that guy, I have to actually physically move in the real world. So no motion sickness. We are right at about an hour. Yeah. An hour and 15 minutes. So guys, I think I'm going to kind of wrap things up here. I do want to say here at the end, thank you so much for 10,000 subscribes. That's crazy to me. It's incredible that we've gotten to this point. I was looking at some numbers, and the month that I quit my job, I got 38,000 views and 800 hours of watch time. Last month, I got 160,000 views and 10,000 hours of watch time. That's wild to me. It's nuts. So you guys are, it's you guys. If no one's watching, I can't do this. And the people that are members, I read your question earlier. did do your question earlier. To you folk that you know, any of it, whether you're watching, you're super chatting, you're a member, you're all supporting me, and the fact that I can do this and then at the end of the month get a check that pays my mortgage, and that I don't have to go do stuff that makes me miserable, and I can still like support my little family through it is just insane. It's insanity. So thank you. I'm going to wrap things up with that. More content coming. Just because we're at 10,000 doesn't mean we're not slowing down. If anything, we're speeding up. I got videos primed for tomorrow. Talk about Pixel 6a. We're going to talk about Apple using an e-ink display on their upcoming phones. I got more stuff bouncing around in the head as well. Hope you're enjoying it. Thank you. I will see you guys on the next one. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.